Swashbucklers, you're listening to Under the Crossbones, episode number 158. My name is Phil Johnson. I'm your host for the show each and every week. Thank you for tuning in and telling your friends, sending donations, all that kind of good stuff that you do. And happy Talk Like a Pirate Day. We're a day early. Happy Talk Like a Pirate Week. Why can't we do that? I hope you've decorated your pirate tree and hidden all the pirate eggs for the children to find and wrapped all your pirate presents and put the pirate turkey in the oven. And I hope you're all ready to have a fantastic Talk Like a Pirate Day. So, Mike, I thought I should bring you, a really cool guest, and two, a bang-up episode this week to celebrate our holiday here. So my guest today is Clay Clement, known to many of you as Talderoy. Yes, I've been trying to get Clay on the show for quite a long time, and I finally got him. If you've been in the pirate scene for any length of time, you've probably heard of Talderoy, especially if you're out here on the West Coast. And we had quite a talk, man. We're going to talk about, he's the owner of Studio City Tattoo in Hollywood, so we're going to talk a lot about tattooing because I find that pretty fascinating. We're going to talk about Pirate Invasion Long Beach, which he is a large part of putting together. We're going to talk about there's zombies and bananas and all sorts of crazy stuff in here. So it's going to be a really great interview that I have split up into two parts. Because we actually recorded it in two parts that were a couple weeks apart. So we're going to listen to the first half, and then we will listen to a second half, but it's all here in one episode. I figure I'd do it that way instead of breaking it up into two episodes. So, I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but my voice is whipped. It is worn. I'm just getting over like a head cold thing that all my shows last week were just like croaking out jokes, just like, hey, everybody, here we go as a joke. And it was a little rough. Fortunately, I was going to say they were short shows, but they weren't. Only one of them was. And so I am just getting my voice back today, and so probably I'm not going to do as much talking up at the top here as usual. But I'm sure you're okay with that. But getting over it. You know what I did do over the weekend? My dad turned 76 years old. His birthday was last week, and he travels a lot with me, going to gigs and things like that. And so I'm always playing music in the car, and every time there's a rapper I listen to, a hip-hop artist named Lyrics Born, who is a Japanese rapper out of Berkeley, California. Fantastic stuff. If you like hip-hop, if you like good funk music, Lyrics Born is fantastic. So anyway, every time Lyrics Born comes on, my dad goes, I really like this guy. I'd like to see him next time he comes to town. And as it turned out, Lyrics Born's new album just came out a few days ago. It's called Quite a Life. It's his 10th album. And he was throwing the record release party in Berkeley, not too far from us here. So I took my dad for his 76th birthday to his first legit hip-hop concert. And that was pretty fun. We got a picture with Lyrics Born after, yeah. So now my dad is like turned on to hip hop, as he said. He said, "Tell Lyrics Born that I am now turned on to hip hop," and he's encountered it before because I have friends in the music industry that do that type of music and things like that. But he was never like really into it. But seeing it done live, he was getting it. He was like, "Oh, okay, I see what's going on here." There was also a lot of, now what is that guy doing with that little box? And does that really need to be? Is that guy doing anything over there? There was a lot of questions like that, but it was fun. It was fun. So if you go over to let's see, where did I post that? On Instagram, I posted the picture of me and my dad and Lyrics Born. It's on Instagram. I'm at Phil Johnson Comedy. If you want to see that photo over there. But anyway, back on the road this week for me. Yeah, I had a rare weekend off. They don't happen very often, but I'm back on the road this week. This Friday, September the 21st, I'll be at the Pix Theater in Lapeer, Michigan, and headlining that one with Joe DeVito from New York. It's going to be very fun. We're raising money to put kids through art and performance and music classes, which will be great. And then September the 22nd, I'll be at the Temple Theater in Saginaw, Michigan. Super excited about this. Oh my gosh, I've seen the pictures of the theater. Holy cow, it's beautiful. And that's going to be great. That's me and Joe DeVito, Kate Brindle, and DJ Dangler. It's a quadruple headliner show. It's going to be fantastic. And then September the 26th, I'll be at the World Series of Comedy in Florence, Indiana at the Belterra Casino. And that is my first show of that festival is Wednesday the 26th. So you can get tickets for that at theworldseriesofcomedy.com if you want to check that out. October the 4th, I'll be headlining at the Red Brick Bar and Grill back here, Turlock, California. October the 6th, I'll be at Comedy Oakland in Oakland, California. And then heading up to Canada, October 11 to 13, I'll be at the Comedy Factory in Edmonton, Canada, headlining those dates up there, and maybe a few other things. Arizona, Nevada, Minnesota, Florida, Oregon, Washington, all coming up. You can go check the tour dates. Go to underthecrossbones.com, click that tour dates button, and you can get all the info there and see when I'm coming near you. And if I'm not coming near you yet, tell me about what comedy clubs you've got in your town, and we'll see if we can make that happen. We are sponsored today, very important, by S.R. Staley. He is back with his third book of the Pirate of Panther Bay series called Calusa Spirits. And if you've read the first two award-winning books in the series, Pirate of Panther Bay and Tortuga Bay, then you know that this is a can't-miss installment. And even if you haven't read those books, these all work as standalone books. Standalone stories. You can read them in any order that you like. It's as if you found Led Zeppelin 4 and were like, man, the Stairway to Heaven is really good. And then you're like, oh, it's called 4. There's probably 3 other albums before it. In fact, there is. Yes. So you can read in the Pirate of Panther Bay books in any order, but I guess in order would make sense. And in Calusa Spirits, Isabella and her crew of pirates are on the run from pirate hunters dispatched from colonial Spain. Ooh, colonial Spain, you people. And fighting for their lives off the coast of Cuba, where they make a run for safety up the west coast of Florida. And as they're scavenging for food and water, they run into a rogue tribe of Calusa Indians. And the result is an epic battle of survival and identity in an action-packed pirate adventure of historical fiction set in the 1780s. And Calusa Spirits comes from Yellow Pine Publishing. Yellow Pine Publishing on September 19th. Yeah, it's today. Are you listening to today? The day the show comes out, September 19th, Talk Like Pirate Day, it's out now, so go get it. And they're doing a bunch of really fun online events around the release, so if it's still the 19th when you're listening to this, go over to srstaley.com, and you can check out all the release info, and if it's not the 19th, go to srstaley.com and pick up the book. That's how it works. If you want to hear my interview with S.R. Staley, go back to episode 20 on the episode guide at underthecrossbones.com, and you can hear all the cool stuff that we talked about. And he's a great guy, great author, good books, and you should go check those out. That's Calusa Spirits by S.R. Staley, out now. You enjoying the show? I hope you are. Yeah. Come on over to Facebook, facebook.com/underthecrossbones, and join in the fun that we're having over there. We post little things every day over there, so that's a good bunch of piratey fun happening there. If you're on Twitter, come visit us at Under Crossbones, twitter.com/Under Crossbones, no the. And if you want all the notes for this episode, which is going to be a whole bunch of cool stuff, go to underthecrossbones.com/158. There's going to be pictures, there's going to be video, there's going to be all sorts of stuff this week on there. If you want to help support the show, that would be awesome of you. Go to underthecrossbones.com/support. Right in there, there's a little PayPal box. You can just drop a donation in. Anything that you feel is appropriate is fine. Maybe the price of a bottle of rum is a good way to think of it, because I don't drink, so you can just send me the money. And if you click that, there's an Amazon banner there. You click that Amazon banner. You go buy yourself something nice from Amazon, and then Amazon kicks me back a few shekels, and that helps me keep the old boat afloat. If you want to be a sponsor of the show like S.R. Staley or Pirate Radio, The Treasure Coast, or any of those other folks, you can do that too. Just go to underthecrossbones.com/support. It's cheap. It's easy. We'll get you hooked up. All right. Let's get into this, because we've got stuff to do today. We've got interview to get to. We're going to talk. The International Pirate Awards are out. Emmys. I know the Emmys on. Who cares about the Emmys? The International Pirate Awards are out, and I have the list of winners for you. So we will talk about that in between parts 1 and part 2 of the Talderoy interview. All right, so stay tuned for that. And right now, let's dig in. The man himself, Clay Clement, a.k.a. Talderoy. I kind of want to start with a story that happened just as I was coming back from the Long Beach pirate invasion of Long Beach. Sorry, I'll get that right one of these days. And I was taking the ferry back, and I was listening to a group of pirates talking, and Talderoy, you came up, and one guy goes, all these years I've heard about this Talderoy guy, and I've never met him. And they were like, oh, he's great. His friends are like, oh, yeah, he's a great guy. No. And then like 3 minutes later, somebody used your real name. They called you Clay. And the same guy goes, hang on a second. Wait a minute. Clay is Talderoy? I know Clay.
Yeah, that's, that happened with when Facebook changed over and they made you use your real name.
Okay.
So forever it was just Talderoy, a crew.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, they made us use our real names, and it's Clay, nicknamed Talderoy Clement.
Okay. Yeah.
So then people started knowing me as Clay, and my mom calls me Clay.
Yeah, of course, right. Yeah, and I thought that was a conversation that really sort of summed up the mystique of your character within the pirate community. So I want to dig into that a little bit today.
Sure.
Let's go back. Where did you grow up?
You know what? I'm a Pasadena boy.
Okay.
In Pasadena, California. And originally my folks came from the East Coast. So I was born in New Jersey.
Okay.
And left there when I was 1. So I said, I'm out of here. Packed my bags at 1 and then took off. So most, I grew up in Pasadena, Altadena. And then I spent a good part of my 20s in Australia.
Oh, wow.
I lived in Australia for off and on for about 6 years.
And why was that? What prompted that?
Oh, man, big time adventure. We don't have enough time.
We got plenty of time, brother. Plenty of time.
I was very active in all things sort of fantasy realm back as a young lad.
Okay.
So, grew up Conan books, Lord of the Rings, whatever I could read. I got involved in the SCA when it first started.
Okay.
And when the Kingdom of Kaid was born of Southern California. So that's also where I sort of got introduced to a certain individual here in California. And he's considered the king of the pirates, Oberon.
Okay.
And he sort of started the pirate movement many, many years ago. And so it started sort of as an offshoot of the medieval times. He started doing the pirate thing, and everybody thought, that's weird. Why is he doing pirates when everybody's doing medieval?
And saying medieval times, I assume you mean like Ren fairs and things, and not the dinner entertainment.
No. Actually, for the Society of Creative Anachronism, it was reenacting.
Okay.
Of the Middle Ages. So it was like full combat. So it was sort of its own thing away from the Renaissance fair.
Okay, then, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, he was in his 30s, and I was a young lad. I was probably 16, 17.
Uh-huh.
And when I got involved into it, and I was a big boy, and you were supposed to be 18.
Okay.
And I got snuck onto the battlefield with a group called the Brotherhood of the Blade.
Okay.
And I was good at what I did. Did that for a few years, the combat part of it, and enjoyed that. And that's where I met Oberon. And he was sort of starting to do the pirate thing back then.
Okay.
Then, of course, life goes, and I end up a bouncer in Australia. So my travels took me to Australia, and I ran out of money. And I had a $2 coin. And I went to the manager of the hotel. I was staying at the Bondi Beach Hotel in Bondi Beach. And I said, mate, listen. I'm broke. I'm done. This is my last night here. I'll sweep. I'll do dishes. I need work.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, he's like, geez, mate, you're a big bloke. And I'm like, he goes, you ever do any bouncing? And I had one of my first jobs was for Madame Wong of Madame Wong's West in Madame Wong's Chinatown.
Okay.
And I was a bouncer sort of back in the beginning of like Chrissy Hines and I can't think of the bands back then, but basically I got into, I was a bouncer and then made money doing that. And as 19, 20, and 21.
Uh-huh. So
I referenced to that. They said, geez, you're a big guy. How about doing some work? And so I fell into a bouncing job in Australia. And, I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's especially in the 80s, was a rough place.
Really?
And there were lots of fisticuffs, and it was a good time. But the experience of fighting in armor and looking through a visor slot, and I was also, I was always a martial craftsman.
Uh-huh.
That's just short of artist, and it paid well. So I did that, and then I got licensed in Australia. I was a licensed Commonwealth bodyguard, and I was one of a few Americans that was working there. And because I was American, I worked for a lot of big name stars.
Oh, okay.
And because we were more mature.
Uh-huh.
And I say that very lovingly. I love all my Australian brothers and mates, but they were apt to fight very quickly. Uh-huh. And I was apt to use my mouth and be funny. I was good at what I did, but I chose non-confrontation before confrontation.
Right.
And because of that, I worked a lot. I worked for some big promoters and pub owners and So I had this Australian adventure.
Interesting. Now, were you doing the SCAA Middle Ages kind of stuff down in Australia as well?
No, that was real adventure. That was real.
Okay.
Real off and having an adventure and putting yourself in, spots dangerous spots and getting paid for it. And again,
Sure.
all within the, the music venue industry. And so I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of that going.
Oh yeah,
playing
certainly.
in clubs and
yeah, they can be very strange, dark, dangerous places at times, depending on where you are. What kind of bigger name people were you guarding down there?
I work for Grace Jones,
Okay.
Bananarama.
Oh, nice.
Ice-T, Tony Williams, the jazz drummer.
Yeah. I feel like Grace Jones might have just pushed you out of the way and said, "I'll handle this one."
I'll take the fifth on my Grace Jones stories here. They're probably not for our audience right now, but man, what a character she was.
Quite possibly. Yeah. She's an interesting person. So you said you were in Australia for 6 years, and was coming back to the U.S. just a matter of being broke, or was there some other reason?
It wasn't a matter of being broke. The money there was really good.
Oh, okay.
The way it worked there, we had double time and triple time with long weekends and stuff. So to give you an example, in the 1980s, I think I was making $24 an hour as a bouncer.
Nice.
When I had that $2 coin, I had run out of money. That I worked that first night. Well, they had lost a bouncer in the bar. When I say lost a bouncer, they'd lost a bouncer to the hospital. And I sat on a stool. They had kicked a door open from the main bistro bar to the nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
So for the night, I sat on a stool and kept people from coming in the back door. I think I worked 10 hours. And at the end of the 10 hours, they handed me $170. And it started out at $17 an hour. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is good. I can do this. I can sit on this stool and make money, right? And little did I know that was, the lull of my experience as a bouncer in Australia. But it was, we definitely earned our money, and it was a good time.
Interesting. So then what did bring you back to the U.S.?
Just a bunch of different things. My family's here. So that was a big draw, mom and dad. And then I was at the ill end of a heartbreak. So I felt it was time for me to maybe go home and recuperate.
That makes sense.
So I came back here. Tried school for a little while. Being a tough guy bouncer in Australia, it's a different structure than it is here, right?
Sure.
We're more of a police state. The police handle the situations. In Australia, it's not like that. So let's say you own a nightclub or a hotel with pubs in it. The head of security is above the managers.
Okay.
They're the eyes and ears of what Phil wants in his establishment and how he wants to run it.
Right.
And they're sort of pub society, so they drink a lot. So, there's prime times where they make their money on alcohol. Let's say from, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Sure.
Or certain times at certain pubs. So being head of security, I'm the eyes and the ears of the owner, what he wants, how he wants it. So there was a lot of managerial in that also.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm off track again. That happens. That happens for being punched in the head too many times as a bouncer.
So yeah, we were just talking about what brought you back into the U.S. and what you said you tried school for a while and then you were bouncing. Yeah,
so I came back to the U.S. to reacclimate, and I went to school for a year, and then I got a student loan, and I decided I didn't want to go to college. I aced the year; it was great, but it just wasn't for me. So I took the money I got from the loan, and I bought a hot dog cart.
Okay, interesting.
Then I had 3 hot dog carts, and I had 3 hot dog carts and a churro cart. I had a van, and I put the hot dog cart in the van, and I started at the paintball fields. I live up in Altadena above Pasadena, California. And I took the carts to paintball fields. I'm kind of a regular guy, and I know regular guys. So if you give them an excuse not to pack their own lunch, I'm buying from the hot dog guy at the paintball field, right? If he's there next weekend. So I developed a business with that, and that was really good. That was actually really, really lucrative. I'd work the weekend and make $1,200, and then I turned that into a restaurant.
Interesting.
at the Packmeyer International Shooting Sports Park.
Okay.
And did really well with that. And then in my travels, I was tattooed. And so tattoo was a big part of my life. And then one of the ladies in my past was a professional body piercer.
Okay.
To say the least. She's a professional body. She was a very interesting young lady. And we went out for a little while, and I had learned a bit of body piercing from her.
Okay.
And I had gotten the opportunity to buy the tattoo shop that I own now, Studio City Tattoo here in Studio City, California. And we're 26 years old as a tattoo shop.
And so that was a going concern before you bought it?
It was, yeah. Okay. And it was born of Sunset Strip Tattoo in the old ways of tattoo shops. It was got the okay to open up in a certain territory amongst certain political groups of people that ride motorcycles.
Right.
So I had bought an existing business, and I've owned it. I've run it now for about 21 years.
Okay.
And when I bought it, it was about 5 years old. And it was failing. It looked like the inside of a milk carton. And something I had wanted to do. Tattoo is a big part of my life, being tattooed in Australia. That was kind of when in Rome. Here I was an athlete, bit of a naive young guy before I went to Australia. Got a lot of real world living with bikers and fighting and sailors and, in Woolloomooloo Bay pub in Woolloomooloo Bay, which is the first maritime pub that all the ships of all the world's navies come into that port, Woolloomooloo Bay.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
Basically, that culture, and I got tattooed in Australia. And so when I came back here, it was in Australia, it was a heavily tattooed culture. You have South Seas Islands there, Maori and Tongan and Fijian, and then the biker world, the biker tattoos and stuff. So I had picked that up in Australia. And when I came back home, it was a big part of my life, being tattooed. My wife now of 22 years.
That's a number you want to get right.
Yeah, but are you kidding? She's not here to blacken my eye. And I hesitate because we had dated, before that.
Sure, yeah.
I met her when I owned the restaurant. And long story short, the owner of the tattoo shop, Studio City Tattoo, was her tattoo artist. So that's how I got introduced to the business being for sale.
Okay, I see.
And I had also dabbled in body piercing from my previous relationship before my wife.
Okay.
So I got the opportunity to purchase a tattoo shop while I owned the restaurant. So I ended up going and doing what I really wanted to do, and be around a tattoo shop. But I had always been into pirates and the Pirates of the Caribbean as a ride as a kid, Happy Place. I think it's a common starting point for a lot of us.
Certainly, mine too. Yeah.
We get introduced to that as a kid, and it affects us, and the smell of the water and the ride as you get in. And
the smell of the water is the best. Like every once in a while, I'll encounter that smell somewhere else outside of the ride and just be like, oh, it smells like the ride.
Yeah, me too. That was the key factor for me. And you get into there and you smell that old musty sort of water.
Yep.
I decided, when I bought the tattoo shop that, most tattoo shops, they were cookie cutter shops. They all look the same.
Sure.
There's, artwork from the ceiling to the floor on the walls and, little action figures on their stations. And, and that was it. And because as an entrepreneurial person, the dedication of building a restaurant and running a restaurant, any dedicated business owner knows how much work it is to put into your dream. What you're doing. You're there all the time. And I just couldn't live in that environment. So I got the opportunity to design sort of a South Seas Island tiki pirate tattoo shop at the location that I bought the shop at.
Yeah.
And then when that lease was up, I was able to move a couple blocks down to a much better location.
Okay.
But it was about half the square footage. So I ditched the tiki and went full pirate. Well, lo and behold, and as luck may have it, that was 2 years before Pirates of the Caribbean movie franchise came out.
Gosh, what timing.
And as everybody knows, Talderoy loves his toys. And I'm blessed to have some of the best mates that make just the most incredible toys on the planet. And so I've always been about toys and decor. And so I was able to pull it all together and just have a fantastic little shop. And if anybody wants to take a look, it's studiocitytattoo.com.
Yeah, it's a fantastic looking shop. I enjoyed just being in there and looking around when I came down to visit you, because I've not been in a ton of tattoo shops. I don't have any tattoos, but the ones that I have been in, you're right, they just kind of look very somehow sterile, but also not very prestigious in any way. You know, they just look like, all right, well, we're going to paint some stuff on your arm, and then you get out of here.
And, kind of doing what I like in the whole wood and iron and skulls and the classy side of pirate decor. My customers ended up really loving it. And it was a different time back then when I got the shop, and there were issues with territories, and it was a way for me to sort of stay out of the seedier side of the tattoo industry.
Sure, yeah.
And be a little eccentric. Dressing up like a pirate. What happened was I ran back into Oberon, and I had started doing the pirate thing again. Of course, now I have a ship, the shop.
Right.
I ended up promoting it. I got involved with Talk Like a Pirate Day. I met Mark Summers, patron saint of piratitude.
Right.
and John Bauer, Chumbucket. I met them at a convention in New Orleans.
Okay.
And we became fast friends, and we've been great friends ever since. And so what we started doing is for Talk Like a Pirate Day, a couple things happened for the shop. We have the Pirate Tattoo Shop is just born. It's going at the same time Talk Like a Pirate Day's being born and happening. At the same time, you've got the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise coming out. Well, we're in Studio City, which is the real heart of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of benefits, location. We're close enough to Hollywood, but we're outside of the crazy.
Right.
We're in the heart of Hollywood, where everything gets done.
Yeah.
So the movies were going on. So because of the shop and we were doing good work, and we started to get the crew members from the movie coming in. So the lighters, the gaffing guys, and the set guys. And then, so that kind of became a thing through Pirates of the Caribbean 1 and 2. They'd come back, they'd go out to the Caribbean and they'd shoot. And then they'd come back and they'd get their movie tattoos.
Oh, interesting.
And they'd be back for a couple of weeks. It'd heal them. And then they'd go back to, they get these breaks from being out in the sun on set. So that was cool. That kind of touched us and connected us to the movies.
Yeah, that's really
the movie,
neat.
The film franchise too. So, and then we did the pirate, every year we celebrate Talk Like a Pirate Day, where we have pirate tattoo specials, and we throw a party. And then the first 10 years, we had really big parties. 600 pirates and people.
Wow.
Bars, helicopters flying over. And it's a funny story. We had Mark Summers and John Bauer, Chumbucket, and Captain Slappy came out as guests. And there's bands inside. The Pirates Charles, I believe, are playing inside. And this is, and you saw how little the shop is, right?
Yeah, not very big.
So they squeeze, and we have, the 6 stations, and they squeeze up to the front window area, and they're playing, and people are coming in and going, and then there's a couple bars around the corner, and we get this helicopter that flies over, and I'm like, okay, here it comes, right? Now, this will be the lead into the Chamber of Commerce. So remind me about the Chamber of Commerce. Okay. So we're out front, and there's pirates, and of course pirates have tankards, and in that tankards are rum. And I'm like, oh, all right, here it is. This is it. The helicopter's going around the front, and all of a sudden over the microphone, we hear, "Yar, mateys!" And it turns out to be my next door neighbor, who's in charge of special forces at the police academy. He is like one of the he gets certified with automatic weapons. Okay. And so he's a teacher over there, and I love him. I won't say his name to get him in any kind of trouble. But it was him. He had taken a ride with the helicopter pilot that was going out for a routine call. And they swang back by the shop, and then assaulted us with a microphone, which is wonderful.
That's hilarious.
We're members, that was another thing for us that was new. The first thing I did was I wanted to show the legitimacy of the tattoo shop, because, we've been pushing the boundaries of credibility and acceptability in the tattoo world, especially back there. Things have changed a lot in the last 20 years with the acceptability of being tattooed and the cleanliness of it. But we were really pushing on that. So one of the things that we did was we joined the Chamber of Commerce in Studio City, which is a very powerful, in LA, it's located on the CBS grounds for CBS Studios. So we we got involved with that. And every 4th of July, they throw a big extravaganza for the movie industry. And, they have about 14,000 people.
Sure.
And then they open up all the sound stages and studios, and they bring in magicians and acts and stages. And it's a big event, beer and wine and hot dogs and wine tasting. And so we got invited to it, and we showed up, and we did free spray-on tattoos. We dressed as pirates, and we did free spray-on tattoos for the kids.
Okay.
And that was a huge hit. And then the next year we came back and we did 24-inch black balloons with our logos on it. And
nice.
We did free spray-on tattoos. So for the last 15 years, each year it grew and grew and grew until we had, the last event we had Jack Spareribs there with his ship and stage and walk the plank. And we had, dunk tank pirate insulting dunk tanks. And
okay.
But I was in charge, and with the Chamber of Commerce and CBS, I got to sit on the board with them and design the event for the last few years, and that was a lot of fun.
Neat.
So a couple years ago, they canceled the event. It had been going on for 14 or 15 years, and each year they'd say, well, we're probably not going to do it next year, so don't get your hopes up. And then sure enough, everybody, the public, the fireworks were amazing. They'd have everybody come back, and we do it again and again and again. So finally on the, about the fourth year that they had said, oh, we're probably not going to do it next year, they killed the event. So that was a big, 15 years or so that we had been doing that and having a good time with the kids and pirates and the community and just giving back as a tattoo shop. It was great, great promotion, but it was, a lot of work. A lot of fun, and then at the end of the night, you get to relax, and they have just the best fireworks. But that made me available to be able to get involved with pirateinvasionlongbeach.com.
Right.
And I highly recommend that everybody checks that out, pirateinvasionlongbeach.com. And that's our big event in Southern California. So that's I'm glad that I'm able to get into that and be part of that and make that work, because it's just a huge success.
For sure. I want to talk about that, but I want to back up to the tattoo shop a little bit here.
Sure.
So first of all, you picked two of probably the most regulated industries to open up a local kind of shop in: restaurants and a tattoo shop. Which one was more difficult as far as regulations go? Great
question, man. That was hands down, it was a restaurant.
Was it? I believe it. Yeah.
Business. More regulated. At the time that I opened the shop, tattoo shops weren't regulated. So I was able to bring my experience with getting an A consistently with, Los Angeles Health Department with my restaurant. And that restaurant was called Little Oasis Cafe and Grill, by the way.
Okay.
That was, and so had a golden reputation, but that was a lot of work. There was a lot of regulations, and you had to make sure that you ran it. And talk about super strict. You could just be immaculate as a restaurant, and the health department, the only time we ever got a B, this is why we got a B for the restaurant. They came in at lunchtime. The men's room was out of paper towels because they had been used. And there was a light bulb out in our storage closet.
Oh my gosh.
And we got a B.
Wow.
And I was beside myself because this restaurant, again, it was located on the Packmeyer International Shooting Sports Park, where they shot trap and skeet. And it was archery range and trap ski. But imagine a golf course restaurant.
Right.
A very popular one with a large clientele. This was one of the few restaurants where the health department actually came in and ate.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So they would eat there all the time. They would eat lunch there all the time. So that was, like this huge compliment. I talked to them about the horror stories that they would tell me. But I get people come in and say, Clay, why are you mopping the floor?
Right.
Why don't you have one of your employees mop the floor? And I'm like, because I'm the only one that does it right. and that was a big deal. It was, the place had to be immaculate, and I was the one that cared enough to make sure that it was done right.
That's an interesting personality trait, because I have that in me too, where you're like, well, I could have somebody else do this, but it's not going to be done right unless I do it myself. Is that something that carries over into other parts of your life and or business?
Yeah, I think that's, I tell people, we all have different hats. I've got, when I put on the pirate hat, or when I put on the dad hat, or when I put on the hanging out with the bros hat, but there's a certain entrepreneurial business hat I put on. And when I do, things get cleaner and my vision gets better. And, there's certain, it's a trait that, success starts at the floor.
Right.
And I think whether you're a martial artist, if we go off in my martial craftsman background, the key energy, grounded footwork, whether you're a swordsman, whether you're a dancer, whether, things start at the floor. And that's no different than with business. People don't realize they walk into a shop and the floor's clean.
Right.
And subconsciously they feel it, or there's a smell, they're coming back to, see, all these lessons we learned, back to the smell inside of the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
When you get into it, it's kind of the same thing. You come into our shop and the floor's clean, and there's a a Fabuloso smell. It's for those that don't know, Fabuloso is a floor cleaner.
Yep.
And it smells delicious.
Yes.
It smells.
It's in the Mexican section because for some reason they have to have different.
You got to get it. You got to get it in the aisle of the. You come in and the floor's clean and you don't know it, but you feel it. And then you have that good feeling and you come in and you're treated right. You're inside a brothel / pirate den / pirate ship. I say brothel because of this is the radio. So those that haven't seen the shop, we have very elaborate sort of old world gold and maroon wallpaper that looks very much brothel like in the tattoo shop. So it gives it kind of a real classy vibe.
Yeah, it's classy and it's a very dense and layered atmosphere, but you're right. It does not feel sketchy or dirty in any way, which is also different from when you think of tattoo shop. If you were going to a tattoo shop on Sunset Strip, that's going to feel just outwardly more sketchy than the place that you've got.
Absolutely. And there's a genre or thanks to the movie industry, there's imagery out there and there's truth in all of that too. Like you said, there are tattoo shops that are seedy and that aren't worried about what we're worried about as far as cleanliness and image and being a family shop, which is a strange dichotomy in itself. Here we have back to pushing the boundaries of respectability, acceptability, responsibility. There's things that we don't do. We won't tattoo you below the wrists or above the neck unless you're heavily tattooed.
Right.
We call them job stoppers. We don't tattoo fingers. We could take that money, but we've just decided over the years that it's, unless you're immersed in the tattoo culture and you have a lot of tattoos. Right. And we feel that you can, when we get our hands tattooed, it's a novelty. And we know that it's not going to look as good as a tattoo, say on a more supple area of skin, forearm, arm, or whatnot. The hand's exfoliated at a much faster rate. The fingers are always moving. Right. It just the hand and finger tattoos don't look very good over time.
You're right. And the day that I came down to visit you, I saw you talking with that super white bread kid who wanted to get something tattooed on his fingers, and you were like, "Nope, don't do it." And I was like, "All right, I like the cut of this guy's jib," as the sailors would say.
It matters. It's very important, in whatever we do, but especially what we do is taking responsibility. I'm 54, and I'm 54 for a good reason. I've made it this far, and a lot of that is learning to make good decisions. Sure. And having good character is standing up, for what you believe in. Yep. And hopefully that's based on experience and wisdom and things that are real. And I'm able from a position to say, hey, this isn't a good idea, or this is a good idea, or here's an alternative, or and that's another thing. People sometimes they get a little argumentative, and the point is, hold on here for a second. You have to understand, I'm not taking your crisp $100 bill right now, right, to do something that you want us to do because we don't think you're going to be happy. And 99% of the people, when you ask them a year later, they're not happy with
Uh-huh.
Oh, I wish I didn't get my fingers tattooed, or this wasn't it. Look, it just looks terrible, So yeah, so we're able, back to being a pirate shop. We sell, I deal in gold and silver.
Okay.
And treasures and jewelry. We only have the finest jewelry made by craftsmen, earrings, and that just really made me happy. It just went together with my happy place, a pirate selling earrings, you know what I mean?
Right.
Piercing. And as I learned to pierce, pirate piercing ears, the ship's piercer. And that's just me. I tend to look at, everything through my glasses are sort of themed.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just how I choose to see the world. If I had to run a business that was just black and white paper business, I'd go bored out of my mind. So
right.
I have to be able to give it a pirate theme for me to live in it and run it and enjoy it and tie it all together with, what makes me happy.
You would have had like the most piratey, coolest themed out accounting firm ever.
Oh, you know it. You remember the old Monty Python skit with the two accounting firms, the two buildings?
Oh, I don't think I do.
There's two buildings and they're sailing along, and then they're two accounting firms, and then they start swinging in accountants with their ties around their head like pirates, and they swing in and break through the windows and they pirate fight. It was a Monty Python skit.
Oh gosh, I'll have to look that up. I don't remember that one. I love Python. And that there is the first part of my talk with Talderoy. If you've never seen that Python sketch, it's called Crimson Permanent Assurance. And I will embed the video in it in the show notes so you can see it. You don't even have to go looking for it. Go to underthecrossbones.com/158 and I'll put that Monty Python video right there for you. It's very funny. If you like that, just bizarre British humor. It's really a great thing. And even if you don't, you like pirates, so do it. All right, let's get into the 2018 International Pirate Awards winners. Are you ready? There's a red carpet. There's a red carpet running through my office right now, and all these people are gonna walk right here through my office. They're going to whisper in my ear their reception speech, their thank you speech. They're going to whisper in my ear. I will tell it. No, there's nobody coming into my office here. That's ridiculous. So let's do it. Here's the awards for favorite female character. Anne Bonny, as played by Claire Paget on Black Sails. Yeah, duh, right? She's amazing. Still trying to get her on the show, though. Haven't given up on that. Would love to have her on. I keep hounding her PR rep. Favorite male character, Jack Sparrow, as played by Johnny Depp, because even more duh, right? Yeah. Not really working on getting him on the show. I would like to have him on the show. Not really working on it because he doesn't do interviews with almost anybody except for that thing in Rolling Stone from about a month ago. And I don't think I'm ready for it yet, but maybe it'll happen one day. We'll see. Favorite restaurant, La Bodega in Binic, France. Yeah, now we're international, right? Binic, France. I'm not even sure where that is, but if you are near Binic, France, apparently La Bodega, best pirate restaurant in the world. Go check it out. Favorite pub, the Sea Devil Tavern at the Texas Renaissance Festival. Back in the U.S., get some Texas in there, and that is the favorite pub winner, Sea Devil Tavern at the Texas Renaissance Festival. Favorite handmade shop, Pirate Fashions in Tampa, Florida. Yeah, that's a great shop. They are also the winner for favorite physical store. So 2 awards for Pirate Fashions down there in Tampa, Florida. If you would like to hear all about that, I interviewed Tiger Lee, the owner of Tampa Pirate Fashions, way back on episode 15. So hit that episode list on underthecrossbones.com. Go to episode 15. You can hear my talk with Tiger Lee of Pirate Fashions. Funny guy. Very funny guy. Favorite original song, Hangman's Jig by Captain Tor and the Ne'er-Do-Well Cads. Yeah, that's a good one. I believe we played that song and talked to Captain Tor himself back on episode 71, if you want to go hear that. They also are the winner for favorite musical group. Yes, Captain Tor and the Ne'er-Do-Well Cads from up there in Quebec, Canada. Again, that's episode 71. You can hear my interview with good old Captain Tor there. Favorite magazine, mutinymagazine.com. You can check that out. I think we bring it up a little bit, very just briefly with Talderoy here in the second half of the interview with him. But that is a great pirate magazine. Go check that out. And last but not least, the favorite festival. Drum roll. That's a terrible drum roll on my belly. The winner is the Gananoque Pirate Invasion in Gananoque, Ontario, Canada. That's hard to say when you're a whitey American-y guy like me. Gananoque Pirate Invasion in Gananoque, Ontario, Canada is the winner of Favorite Festival. Good to see the French Canadians getting in on some stuff this year. So that was very cool. And that is your list of 2018 International Pirate Awards winners. We are sponsored today by Pirate Radio, the Treasure Coast, WKKC-DB, playing the best music of today's hits and yesterday's classics. And, of course, Pirate Radio Talk, playing the best pirate shows, including Under the Crossbones, 24/7, all commercial-free. To listen, go to pirateradiothetreasurecoast.com or pick up the Pirate Radio WKKC app for the music stations. And for the talk station, go to pirateradiotc.com or pick up the Pirate Radio Talk app. And you can get those apps in whatever app store you get your apps in. You can also yell at your Alexa or Google and go, hey, Google, or hey, Alexa, and say, play Pirate Radio, the Treasure Coast, and it'll kick it right up. Or you can say, play Under the Crossbones, and it'll kick it right up. It's right there. All brought to you by iTreasure Radio, the very best digital media from independently owned stations at iTreasureRadio.com. All right, so we're not done yet. I know, usually I start kicking in that theme music right here and telling you the show's over, but no, not today, because Talderoy and I sat down for a part 2. We weren't done yet. We had to finish part 1 because his kids came home and it got real noisy in his house. And so we just, we settled down for a part number 2, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff in here. So here we go. Here's part 2 with Talderoy. You've been doing some cool Hollywood stuff this week, so why don't you tell me about that?
Actually, next week I'm back on the set of Mom, the TV show.
Oh, okay.
Tattoo technical advisor. So I helped design the University Tattoo, which is the TV show tattoo shop.
Okay.
Yeah, my job for the episode is to go in and make sure that everything is legit. Everything looks good, that it looks like a real tattoo shop, and that the actors look like they're real tattoo artists.
Oh, okay. I see. I'm not familiar with the show. Where is that one seen?
Yeah, it's CBS.
CBS. Oh, okay, cool.
Mom American sitcom.
Nice. I'll have to check it out. That sounds cool.
Yeah, they won some Emmy awards, and it's really been a good series.
It's always so interesting that there's stuff out there that is winning awards and all this but there's so much content that I miss half of it these days. Yeah,
me too. It's real interesting. I have a 9-year-old. I just sent my boy off to college, and a lot of the pirates in the pirate world know him. Heath. Uh-huh. Heath just went off to college, and now I have Zoe here with me, and Zoe's 9. Uh-huh. And it's interesting what she watches. She watches a lot of the YouTubers.
Okay, yeah.
I guess they're YouTube podcasts.
Yeah. It sort of brings up an interesting question. With that newer generation, are you seeing tattooing and piercing remain a big thing? Is it getting bigger? Is it getting smaller?
That's a really good question. It's growing. It's steady. For us, as a tattoo shop and a pirate tattoo shop, we've always pushed the boundaries of credibility, okay, making our industry more credible. Uh-huh. We were CalOSHA certified before the health department was even involved in our industry in LA. The health department's only been involved in this industry for probably the past 8 years.
That's amazing to me.
Or so, yeah. For all that time, it was unregulated. So you have all these tattoo shops doing whatever they want and whatever kind of practice, and it was a jungle. So now the health department's involved, but it's steady, and our clientele's steady every year. Every year, knock on wood, we do better than the last.
Good.
And we're 26 years old as a shop, and I've got a great crew, but I've got just the best customers in the world. They come in, and they're just wonderful. So we're blessed with that. And that's where, too, because of the shop reputation, back to the TV show Mom and being technical advisor, it's just because we run such a tight ship and everything is by the book and everything's clean. I mean, when you come into our shop, let's say, for example, you get a body piercing, we have a special autoclave. It's very expensive. It's called a Statum. And not only does it sterilize everything that touches your skin, but it also prints out a receipt for you. So you can also see that batch ran at the proper heat temperature and passes.
Wow.
So it's little things like that we do that isn't required that puts us over the top once again.
Sure. So before the health department was involved in this kind of stuff, how did you have what kind of idea did you have of what they would expect and when they eventually did get into it? What kind of changes did you have to make to your business?
For us, we didn't have to change anything. In fact, we helped the Los Angeles Health Department get their game together with some of the practices that we do. When they got involved and they started coming around, they were really looking hard at how we do our bookkeeping and how we check a client in. See, Cal OSHA has a much higher standard than the health departments.
I see. Okay.
So for safety for workers and stuff. So we had been following protocol for Cal OSHA since I got the shop.
I gotcha. Okay.
You know, there was no regulation, so I looked out there to see, well, how can we do this right? And the Cal OSHA had those, cross contamination protocols that they follow, and we got into that, and that's how we set up how we do things at the shop. And then we have a one-way system. All the inks come from a medical cabinet, a big stainless steel medical cabinet, and they're set up in a pallet, and they go from the pallet over to the station, and then the station is wrapped in protective barrier, and then the artist palette is a paper plate with the ink caps stuck into Vaseline so they won't slide around on the plate.
Okay.
And then it goes on to the work surface, and then the tattoo commences. Everything that we use is, again, disposable. Not a lot of shops, they reuse their tubes. Now, if those tubes are sterilized correctly, it's not an issue. But there's the weak link. If there was something wrong with the autoclave, if they weren't cleaned properly, that's the chance to go wrong, where we sort of working with disposable tubes.
Oh, okay.
Rather than a steel tube, it's a plastic tube. You use it one time, you throw it away. It would be like a plastic scalpel, a steel scalpel that was going to be reused, and then it had to be cleaned, autoclaved, made sterile, and then reused. So nothing that touches a client's skin nowadays for us. And I think most really progressive shops, or they should be, is 100% disposable. That just eliminates any problem. So when the pallet, back to the station, when the pallet goes to the station, when we're done with the tattoo, the needle comes out, it goes into a sharps container. The plastic tube is dropped into the cup of water. We have a rinse cup that we use. Each time you change the color, you need to rinse the color out of the tube.
Sure.
And then we'll drop the tube into the cup, and then we have a special solidifier, and it's a powder. And it's only about a half teaspoon goes into this water, and it turns it into a solid gel. And what's wonderful about that is it goes from that right into the trash. So if we're changing the trash at the end of the shift and we tear the bag, there's no leakage.
Oh, okay.
When that trash now does not have to go into a bio-specific trash. It can be thrown in. It can be thrown away with regular trash because it's contained.
Interesting. Tell me about the guys because you're not a tattoo artist yourself. You're running the business and you do the piercing, but you don't actually do tattooing yourself, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm dad of the shop. I run the shop. I do all the social media. I built the website. I do all the SEO for the website, make things run. At one time, I was a piercer. I was a ship's piercer.
Okay.
And the earrings and the whole time many years ago. But as we grew, I didn't have time, running the business. There's 14 or 15 of us there now.
Sure.
So that's a big crew for a tattoo shop.
Tell me about the artists that you do bring in, because you've told me some interesting stories about how you work with those guys.
Well, they're pirates. We have an actual couple pirates on the crew. Captain Dave, he's our pirate tattooist of the shop, and Jose Menendez, another pirate, and then the other are just pirate in spirit. Okay. They don't actually dress up or go out, except for Talk Like a Pirate Day, where we have a special event where we do special pirate tattoos, and we've done this for years. So every year we celebrate our sacred holiday, and we do pirate tattoos, and we do them at a discount. And we have 3 sizes: a small, a medium, and a medium. They're all not really, really big, but there's 3 different sizes. And people come. It's been a tradition here in LA. It's been wonderful. There's a big responsibility. It's our party, and it's our pirate day. And everything I do, I tend to do grandiose.
Sure.
I've promised myself that I would take things down a notch. Big parties, big events, right? So this last talk like last couple years back. I was like, you know what? This is for us. And we downsized the party and we made it intimate, and we did the food stuff, so, the donuts and the fun stuff. And by the way, Krispy Kreme donuts, of course.
Yeah, of course.
They were celebrating Talk Like a Pirate Day for some time.
Yeah.
But and I really, while I love the big parties, but man, if you're a host or you throw an event, all the responsibilities that fall on your shoulders,
certainly
everything.
It's exhausting.
And since we've had the more intimate parties, we all have a lot more fun.
That's good.
And people come in, and our pirates, our friends and people that celebrate it with us, they're coming in for the tattoos and the tradition of it. They're going to add another small pirate tattoo. And we do reverse mermaids and anchors and you name it. If it's a pirate tattoo, we've got it.
Nice.
But we have a lot more fun that way. I can relax. I'm having a good time. I'm laughing. We're there, and it just happens, as opposed to having, the host
running around like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've gotten to enjoy. I've gotten the last couple talk. Not that I don't have a good time, but I've gotten to take a deep breath and enjoy the last couple of events. Talk Like a Pirate Day, which is super nice.
That's very cool. So when you bring new artists into the shop, what are you looking for in bringing somebody into the business to do that work?
Oh, this one's, character, ethics. What kind of human being are they? This is my Shangri-La. This is my pirate ship. It is the busiest, if not one of the busiest tattoo shops in Los Angeles. And it really is special. There's a big reference for my clientele, and it's trust-based. They trust us with their safety, that they're going to get a good tattoo, that they're going to get a safe tattoo. And a big part of that is the crew. And I have such a wonderful crew, and it's been slow and steady. You get good crewmen, and they become part of the permanent crew, and then you get people to come through. And if they don't have the ethics to join us, then they don't last very long. While we are a family shop, if that can be said for a tattoo shop, there's nothing inappropriate in there. It's all pirates and iron and bronze and swords and beautiful pieces of piratical art. It's just we take what we do very seriously and very loving, and you have to fit in with us.
Sure.
We're adulting. If you can't adult with us, then that doesn't mean we can't have a good time. Let me get this straight. I mean, we in the end, we are a tattoo shop, and a couple F-bombs slip out here and there, and occasionally we get inappropriate with things, and our safe word is banana. So if you hear banana in Studio City Tattoo, it means one of us is going off on a tangent, and the other one of us is calling us back. And you hear banana a lot. So there'll just be stories going, and then you'll hear banana, and then everybody else will just say banana too. And if you're not paying attention, it's like, what the F? What happened?
Yeah.
Banana.
That's
and
funny.
we try and do that because we do have, we won't, in California, you cannot get tattooed under 18 years old. That's
right.
No, doesn't matter. It's the law. We won't do it. End of story. No parental consent, no mom and dad. You have to be 18. It's a rite of passage. We hold to it. But you can get pierced as long as it's not, genital area or genital area with parental consent. So eyes, ear, nose, belly button.
Right.
So we do have younger ones come in with parents and stuff. So we try to keep mindful of that. At any time there might be a mom and daughter getting their navels pierced in the shop, and we want to keep it PG-13.
Yeah, and then they're wondering why everybody's yelling banana.
Yeah, and then there's banana.
That's so funny. That's great. So let's wrap it back around to the persona of Talderoy. And you had mentioned to me that there's differences between who Clay is and who Talderoy is, and how you deal with that when dealing with the pirate community.
Yeah. Let's just get really deep. I think in my case, there's a bit of Talderoy that's very real. And it comes from a part, a side of me that was, I think we spoke last time about, the adventures in Australia.
Yeah.
And traveling and being around the world and being a bouncer and stuff. So when I am that character, there's a younger part of me that is there. My son once said to me, he says, Dad, you're a great pirate. And I said, why is that? I think maybe he was 14 at the time. He says, because you're just being you.
Uh-huh.
And that hit me. It was pretty deep. When you're relaxed with your friends, we all have, you have a business. I don't want to say masks because I don't want to give myself the impression that I'm not real or, but there's a time and a place for profanity. There's a time and a place for the business mask. There's a time and place for the being a son to your parents,
Sure. Yeah.
There's like a propriety of a time and a place in being a cultivated human being. And I think he really enjoys seeing me with my friends with my hair down. So there's a bit of realness in Talderoy.
Sure.
When I get to go let my hair down and be a pirate and, maybe drink a little bit too much with my friends and and do the things that we do when we're pirates. But it's also, it's an image for me for the business. I'm out. In my case, I own a pirate business, a pirate tattoo shop, and I'm always representing my business.
Sure,
in what I do and whatnot. Now, I don't put it in the forefront because tattoo is an eros. People forget that an eros is an erotic art. And as much as we want to mainstream it, it still is the carving of the flesh on and permanent marking of a body and sensations that go with it and trials and tribulations. We're putting ourselves through a test and then coming out the other side with it and succeeding or not succeeding. Sometimes people don't make it through.
Do you ever find that people expect something of you that is a Talderoy thing or vice versa?
Yeah, that's Talderoy's bigger than life. He's a big character, and he's a part of my personality that I really am an optimist. And I don't have time for negativity. I don't have time for things that hold me back or my friends back. And I'm very inclusive, and the character is very inclusive. I don't care if you like me. If you don't like me, come have a good time with us and enjoy yourself. And if you like me, that's even better. Come have a good time with us and enjoy ourselves. So, when I'm pirating, the business comes with me. I guess that's why I went off on a tangent.
Sure.
Eros can't be put forward. So I'm never promoting the shop. I'm out having a good time as Talderoy and events, and the shop comes with me. And then if people are interested in what we do, they'll bring it up. And I'm not, you know what I mean? It's kind of that I'm not the salesman.
Sure,
I don't want to force, hey, buy a tattoo, get it to you. It's really more have a good time. Hey, this is what we do. If you're interested, great. If not, we're having a good time. Which brings me to, promotion of the shop, promotion of Talk Like a Pirate Day parties. And it gave me the opportunity to work with Fred Kumar and Pirate Invasion. I've been friends with Fred for a long time since the event started. I was at the first one and helped with that. And so a couple years ago, when my schedule became free, they asked me to come in and help them. And of course, Mutiny Magazine, we've got to bring that up.
Sure, yeah.
And all the things that we've done. So we came in and helped. And so for the last couple of years, I've been heavily involved with running Pirate Invasion Long Beach.
That's great. Yes, and it's such a fantastic event. I had a really great time there this year.
You know what, man? You were great.
Thank you.
You were great. And the stage, I was so happy with the way everything was run. Having the two MCs, you and Adam, the body juggler, and then having Marnie Spider Johnson as stage mom and running all the bands.
Yeah.
You guys did a terrific job. I don't think I've ever seen an event, let alone a pirate event, stage acts and entertainment runs so good, man. It was really a shining star. And I hope we get you back next year.
Yeah, for sure. My dad was asking me about it when I got back, and I said, yeah, I was just doing some emceeing, and I was, we were just, turning bands on a stage. And he goes, boy, it's been a few years since you did that. And I was like, yeah, it comes back though. All those years of producing rock shows and things, it all comes back.
Well, it's seamless and it's real. We're all being real and we're all having a good time. And I think that ultimately, all of that stuff, it's hard to keep that up with any continuity.
Oh, sorry. Sure. Yeah.
It is for me, when we get into pirate speak and whatnot. And there are some pirates out there that do it really good. Mad Davey, props to Mad Davey and his pirate voice. I'm not one of them, but I think the priority is being real. And you guys, the stage show it was seamless. We were having a good time. Everybody was real. It was genuine. All the acts were just amazing. They were coming off, and I think that's people get the feel of when you're being sincere or when you're running bullshit.
Yeah, certainly. So give me all the websites and stuff. Where do you want people to go to keep up with the stuff that you're doing? Of
course, Studio City Tattoo, guys. Take a look at it at my ship of freedom and what keeps me a pirate as a lifestyle that I live. When you think about it, poking holes in other pirates' ears and putting gold rings, hoops, in them, and pirate tattoos, and we have an extensive amount of beautiful high-end jewelry. So I'm dealing in silver, gold, and gems. I'm really in my element.
Nice.
So take a look at Studio City Tattoo. And then, of course, pirateinvasionlongbeach.com. The biggest pirate event in Southern California every year. This year it is June 30th and 31st, the last 2 days of June.
Right.
That fall on the weekend. So really, yes, I'm involved. Yes, I'm biased. But you'll find that I'm also truthful. Just an amazing event, and people are loving it and coming and having a good time. And I hope you can back me up on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a blast. Definitely a good time.
Of course, I do my zombie stuff, my zombie Jeep.
Oh yeah.
Build. So you can check out zombierated.com and see the beast of a zombie Jeep and some of the other stuff that I do.
Yeah, tell me about the zombie thing. How does that fit in?
Oh, well, let's go back to Talderoy real quick. And the Pirates Charles. Absolutely. Guys, if you haven't heard the Pirates Charles, please do me a favor, Spotify, and listen to them.
Great band.
I'm honored to have a song, Talderoy, one of my favorite songs that they sing. It's actually probably number 3 or 4. So, Sand in the Rum, and they do a lot of classics that are just really amazing.
Sure, yeah.
So take a listen to Pirates Charles. They're a big reason that I am Talderoy, and that the success of portraying Talderoy, they're an amazing band.
So the zombie thing.
Who doesn't love zombies? The thought of the end of the world, the thought of you and a select group of loved ones having to survive the zombie apocalypse. There's no pressure of I got to go to work. I've got deadlines. It's like I got to find a crowbar, a baseball bat, a samurai sword, a little bit of armor. I think that's the purity of it, is it takes you away from the pressures of society. It's like all I got to do is bash zombies and survive.
I see. Okay.
Life gets really simple. and I'm blessed to be multifaceted. I have, my different businesses and the stuff that I do. And I'm always working on a project or something, or promoting something. So that's kind of my escape.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, how would I survive in the zombie apocalypse? All I got to do is find food and swing a bat, and I'm pretty tactical. So
nice. That's not unlike my attitude when I'm traveling on tour. I just need to find food, and I need to kill on stage, and that's all I'm concerned with.
You got to survive, right? We got to just survive and not think about at the time. You're occupied. You're not thinking about all the little my rent's due.
Right.
Oh, I gotta, I have this responsibility. I have that responsibility. It's just like black and white, and I think that's why it's such a cultural phenomenon. I think that's why the Walking Dead is so popular. Sure. It really is an escape for a lot of people that.
Yeah. Interesting. I never really thought about it that way, but that makes a lot of sense. Well, cool, man. This has been super fun. I'm glad we finally got around to doing this, and I'll get all the websites and stuff in the show notes, and everybody can go check out what you're doing.
Thanks, man. I hope this was at least interesting and some insight into Talderoy and Clay, the man behind the pirate, and what we do and how I stay free.
And there it is, friends. That is the conclusion of my it's not a trilogy, it's a duology. I don't know. It's part 2 of my interview with Clay Clement, aka Talderoy. So make sure you head over to the show notes at underthecrossbones.com/158. Over there, I will have I'll link up the song Talderoy by the Pirates Charles. Great tune. That'll be there, so you don't have to go looking for it. I'll also set up links for my episodes with the Talk Like a Pirate Day guys, Captain Slappy and Chum Bucket over there, and as well as with the Pirates Charles. I have episodes with them as well. So I'll link those up. Just hit your show notes. There'll be links to all that good stuff there. If you want to find out more about what Clay's up to, head over to StudioCityTattoo.com and, of course, PirateInvasionLongBeach.com. That is our episode for today. Once again, happy Talk Like a Pirate Day. I hope you're going to celebrate with your mates and your chums and your friends and your family and have a good time and do that up for an exciting Wednesday. Yeah, we can party on a Wednesday. Why not? Again, if you want to find out all what's up with Clay and all the stuff he's doing, go to StudioCity.com to check out the tattoo stuff and PirateInvasionLongBeach.com to check out the stuff for Pirate Invasion Long Beach. All the show notes for this episode are at underthecrossbones.com/158. Got some cool episodes coming up for you. Jess Severs of the Bluefoot Pirate Adventures is coming on. Joshua London, author of Victory in Tripoli, is coming on. We're going to talk Barbary pirates, which does not come up nearly enough on this show. It's an interesting subject, so we're going to be talking about that too. Questionable as to whether there will be an episode next week, only because I'm going to be deeply ensconced in the World Series of Comedy in the middle of Indiana, and I am not entirely sure I will have time to finish putting together an episode for you. Plus, I don't want to shortcut it. I want to make sure you get a good episode. So, there may not be an episode next week. I may prove me wrong and find a way to do it. But don't be surprised if there's not an episode next week. If there's not, then we will pick up the following week with Jess Severs from Bluefoot Pirate Adventures. All right? So for this week, I gave you lots to listen to. Maybe you listen to this one in 2 parts. Make your own sort of next week episode of it if you'd like. Hit the show notes underthecrossbones.com/158, and I will see you next time. Happy Talk Like a Pirate Day.